host. We're back at it again. This little late night drop. We have tomorrow, which is pregame eve, Auburn Tigers edition. And then we're playing, in my opinion, Tony, arguably the most difficult road test of the year, and maybe even all of college basketball with the way Auburn's playing right now. We're going to get into that here in a second. But before we do that, we're going to quickly recap the Ole Miss game. We're not going to talk a lot about that, but we sit at 17-7, Tony, 7-4 in the SEC. We are solidly in fifth place, tied with Florida. Who do we have in front of us? We have Auburn in front of us. We have South Carolina in front of us. We have Tennessee in front of us. And there's one more. What's that?
Arkansas.
No, Arkansas is behind us. No, they're not doing well.
We played. Oh no! We played them one more time.
Yes, I'm talking about teams in front of us in the SEC.
I thought you were talking about remaining schedule. Sorry about that.
No, that's good. Anyway, so we got some work to do, but we are certainly in a point where I think, in a certain way, we control our own destiny to at least get a double bye in the SEC tournament, playing on Friday, which is important. We'll get into that here in a second. But Tony, right now, we're not going to talk a lot about the Ole Miss game, but I want to just get a few bullet points from you. What did you see from the Ole Miss game that is encouraging as we move forward, and where do we sit right now just with the temperament of Kentucky basketball after coming off three bad losses at home, or three losses at home, and then winning the last one? Where are we at right now? And give us just a few bullet points about the Ole Miss game.
I think the things that encouraged me the most about the Ole Miss game would be Cal, doing some good common sense things with the rotation, because, I think it was becoming apparent to everybody that as much as we love, the centers, their production has been inconsistent at best. And their presence on the floor at times can really take away from the chemistry that we capitalized early in the year with the smaller lineups. That being said, Hugo is playing great defensively. I wanted to complain for a second about, he should have had more rebounds, but it's hard to get rebounds when you're trying to block every shot. So we need a secondary person to fill in that opposite block from where Hugo's trying, to block the shot.
Yeah.
But I liked the shortened rotation. I think that helped a lot. And I also like the length of the rotations. So when I say shortened, I mean there's less players rotating in and out. But he's also lengthened the amount of time that players are on the floor. So if he puts Rob out there and, he's just lighting it up like he was in the second half, he'll leave him out there for 7-8 minutes.
Yeah.
And he wasn't doing that earlier in the year. It was like a 4 to 5 minute rotation for each player max. So I think that's good for consistency and continuity. The other thing that I'm really encouraged by was it's twofold. First off, the on-ball pressure defensively, but also we're looking a little more fundamentally sound in our defensive stance. Not just on the ball, but also off the ball too. So we're seeing players now that are more seated in the correct stance, back straight, not too much leaning with the center of gravity. And I think that's producing better results for the defense.
Yeah, exactly. I think defensively it was key last game. By the way, is your lights okay, man? It keeps coming in and out.
Yes, my TV.
You're watching the TV.
Yeah.
Guys, we'll talk more about the ambiance later. He's more of a auto guy right now. We're gonna have to get him in tune with the lights.
I'm new to this, man. I don't have a light, besides the light in my room.
It's okay. Because the TV keeps coming on. Anyway, so defensively, yeah, I saw something that was really neat recently. Cal had player meetings, I guess, following the Gonzaga game. And one of the things that I know Reed Shepherd had mentioned is they want to be the aggressors and establish that mentality right from the get-go. They talked about picking up the ball full court and applying pressure. And here's the thing, what is this shot clock 30 seconds in college basketball? Look, and I think that's phenomenal. one of the biggest things for me with Kentucky basketball is establishing who is going to throw the first punch, who's going to knock the other. Because here's the thing, we'll kind of segue into Auburn right now. Auburn, it may be playing better than anyone else in the country at home. They just beat South Carolina, who has been playing phenomenal in the SEC by 40 points last night. They beat them 101-61, Tony. That, to me, could possibly be one of the most impressive performances of any team in college basketball this year. Impressive win. So they've beaten every opponent in their arena by 11 points or more. So we've got a huge challenge, and I think one of the things we have to do, this imperative for us tomorrow, is we've got to, or on Saturday, we have to set the tone, and we have to at least respond equally to their intensity. Because if we go down 10 to 15 points early, I don't see us being able to withstand a comeback. So that's one of my keys, Tony, for the game on Saturday, is us being the aggressors, picking up the defense 90 feet and plus. We have to apply that pressure. If we don't do that, it's going to be a long night.
I would agree with all that. I think the intensity is obviously important and playing with intensity, but I'm actually confident going into this game.
Okay, why are you confident? What is giving you the confidence?
Because man for man, we're more skilled than they are.
That's true.
So,
but hey, here, let me say really quickly while you're talking about this, let me just insert one fact. So, guys, Auburn has 11 guys who average 14 and a half minutes per game. All right, that's pretty crazy. So, Tony just said he's confident about our talent matched up with them. Just know they have 11 guys averaging 14 and a half minutes. All right, go. Sorry.
Well, and a big question mark going into this game, is Trey Mitchell going to be available? And I don't think we're going to find that out until Saturday. But I was watching the replay in slow-mo, and you can hear him say, I dislocated my shoulder.
Okay.
And I think if it's dislocated,
that's better than breaking something.
No, that's way better than separating it. Which is what it looked like it was either dislocated or separated. So hopefully it's not separated. But yeah, I think this team is coming along with the idea that, hey, if we don't play hard every single possession, we're going to get beat. And you could see that in the Ole Miss game. I mean, Ole Miss is no slouch.
They're good offensively. They have a good offensive team.
Yeah.
Their perimeter shooting's good. I mean, yeah, exactly. That team, Auburn, was 18-5. And look, they played. They were beating South Carolina. No, they were beating Auburn or South Carolina, maybe both. Ended up losing, but yeah, dude, they're a quality team for sure.
Well, and if their resume was very similar to ours going into that game, I mean, that was really a huge game for us. Had we lost that game, we'd totally be behind the 8 ball and playing catch up to everybody. Now we're in a position to where if we do win on Saturday, I think everything opens back up for us. Are we going to be a one, or if even if we were to win out, maybe we could creep into a 2 seed, but that's still probably doubtful. But you can't rule it out because other ranked teams continue to lose.
Yeah. Well, Tony, that's a great point. And let me just kind of shed light on this, guys. Let's compare Kentucky basketball right now. We're 17-7, right? Okay. We have one really good win against North Carolina, and North Carolina is actually kind of regressing. But here's the thing. The trend in college basketball right now is actually very similar because you have basically 3 teams. You have UConn, Purdue, and Houston who have 3 losses or less. They've separated themselves as far as the win-loss column. Everyone else, you have Marquette, 4th ranked, that's 5 losses. You have Arizona, 5th ranked, got 5 losses. Kansas has 6 losses, 6th ranked. North Carolina has 6 losses, 7th ranked. Tennessee. There are so many teams right there, and that's why week to week you just don't know. A team right now that could be 25th or 24th could easily, if they go on a run, could sneak back into that 2 to 3 seed. And to your point, Tony, is every team right now in college basketball, and you could talk about the extra COVID year, talk about the transfer portal, all of that stuff. I think in combination has caused this parity in college basketball that's really unequal to anything we've ever experienced. And here's the thing: if Kentucky just gets hot, and I've been saying this, Tony, for a while now. All you need to do is just get hot at the right time. And to me, a good litmus test for us to see how well we can potentially do in the NCAA tournament is just demonstrating we can string together several games in a row we're playing well, or just winning. To me, the net rankings here, if you didn't know about the net rankings, the reason why Alabama is so high in the net rankings is because if you lose a game, if you play against a really good team and you lose a game within 10 points, you actually get a positive net ranking. So Alabama has played a lot of really good teams, haven't really beaten very many, beaten a few. If you look at our win, I mean, our record with Alabama is very similar. Okay, we actually play a tougher schedule in the SEC than Alabama. But if you look at prognosticators, if you look at like their net ranking, they're higher based upon who they played and how they've lost close games, which to me is kind of inexplicable because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you lose by 1 point or 100 points. A loss is a loss, a win's a win. So to me, it's like Al Davis from the Oakland Raiders. Just win, baby. That is the mentality. And I think, Tony, if we can carry over, because here's the thing, you've said this before, I've said this, you control what you can control. Kentucky basketball has more talent than any other year under Calipari aside from 2015. I think we both agree on that. 15 team is the only more talented team than this team right now, collectively, 1 through 10.
Collectively. Yeah, collectively.
1 through 10. And so there's no doubt in my mind, I'm with you in the confidence level against Auburn because the bottom line is we have more talent than Auburn. We do collectively have more talent. And if you look at our best players are better than their best players. Now, here's the thing. Let's kind of get into some matchups here because we're talking about, we'll get into more of the NCAA tournament outlook here in a little bit. We're going to talk about Auburn right now, though, because that's the topic of conversation. Auburn's got Johnny Broome. You all know about him. He's from Morehead State, played in the OVC 2 years ago, transferred to Auburn last year. He's going to be a load, 6'10", 6'11". Dude is averaging 16 points per game, 8.5 rebounds per game. That is a Trey Mitchell matchup, and that goes to your point. If Trey is not playing, but here's the thing, Auburn, you're not going to see them do as much as Gonzaga or even Ole Miss. Ole Miss has some imposing players down low. They're going to be more of perimeter shooting, pick and pop. They're going to battle inside, but so from that standpoint, the physicality will need to be there, but their big men aren't going to be as physically opposing as Gonzaga's or maybe even Ole Miss's. But their big men can shoot. They're savvy. They're old. And so that's why having Trey Mitchell there is going to be essential. But I'll say this, Tony. If we can respond to their aggression at the beginning of the game, the first 5 minutes, if we can respond and we don't get down 10 points at the 16-minute mark at that first media timeout, and then if we can just, again, stick with it. If the game is close, the last 8 minutes of the second half, I think we have a chance. And we have a chance just because we have a more talented team. And if we can win this game, I'm with you, man. To me, the whole temperature of this season changes after that one win. So yeah, what do you think about that? What are some keys, Tony, where you're like, man, look, we've got to do this if we are going to win the game on Saturday?
All right. So here's why I feel confident. Okay. Their style of play is based on a very high pressure and high intensity man defense, right? They like to get after it. They like to get you into some trap situations. They like to come out and double the ball handler at times. But across the board, it's a high pressure man. Nobody's sagging off anybody, right? So we just happen to have 4 of the best guards in the country, and they're all quick, and they can all handle the ball, and they can all shoot the lights out, with the exception of DJ, which he's streaky, but he can still shoot the ball.
Yeah.
But he can get to the rack at will. So here's my thing. If you want to break down in front of, let's just use DJ as an example. If you want to break down in front of DJ and play right up on him, after about 2 or 3 possessions, you're going to have to change your mindset because he's going to go by you and he's going to get to the rim. Here's the key. Can we finish at the rim against Auburn? If we can finish at the rim against Auburn or draw fouls at the rim, we can beat them. And we might even be able to beat them soundly. It depends on if they're shooting threes. You know, I don't think they're ever going to come out shooting threes the way they did against South Carolina. Their two big men were 9 for 12 from three.
And limit those turnovers too, Like I think limiting the
yeah. So I mean, I think their style of play will actually be a good matchup for us. And draw out, or we have to have the lob game going. So Uganda, if Trey's playing, we've got to be solid in our dive to the rim or our cuts to the basket while our guards are going to the paint.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I feel about Kentucky basketball this year, despite the problems we've had, but again, like if you think about it in comparison, you know, every team aside from the top three teams right now in the AP poll are kind of right there in the same boat, losing games. I mean, Kansas lost by 29 points. You can say, well, they didn't have McCullough, one of the. Well, we haven't had DJ and Trey, some of our best players. So it's like, and I'm not excusing some of the games we played. I mean, Tony and I would both agree some of the games have been inexcusable. We've lost, but I'm just saying to throw in the towel and to feel like this season is a wash to me is insane. Like we've won, but further with far less talent. So to me, it's like, look, this game's not make or break. If we lose this game, to me, it's like I'm not predicting we're going to win. I honestly am kind of like I don't know what to predict right now. I'm kind of like I don't. Part of me doesn't know what to expect, but I can tell you this: if we come out and if we play with the same type of intensity, because here's the thing, in basketball, it comes down to this: if you have the talent, and in conjunction with the talent, if you can control what you can control your intensity. You can control your tenacity. You can control how hard you crash the offensive rebound. You can control how tenacious you are in second chance points and going after loose balls and setting screens. These things, it seems pretty simple, but if this team, and again, it is a young team, and I can tell you in basketball, if your mental state and your approach mentality is not consistent, it's going to have a carryover effect. So I think with this group, if they can mentally approach the game on Saturday like they did against Ole Miss, where they are, again, they're playing aggressive defense. They're not allowing Auburn to cross half court with, 25 seconds left in the shot clock, and they're able just to do whatever they want to with their offense. And that's the thing. And I think what happened last game, you saw this, and Tony mentioned this, we put pressure on their defense. We ran them off the three-point line. We caused them to go into the lane, and what happened? You had Ugano Onyenso, who had 10 blocks, could have had more, honestly. But that's what happened. And that's what I think we're going to see throughout the rest of the year is, look, Aaron Bradshaw blocks some shots. When Z gets more comfortable, I think Z will play a little more toward as he gets more acclimated to defense and just being more cerebral. But hey, look, if we can just continue to pressure, apply that tenacity on their offense, force them into shots at the rim where we have bona fide shot blockers, I'm telling you, that is going to be key for us. Because here's the thing, make them shoot layups. Tony, how many teams have beat us because they got to the rim and made layups? I mean, like, now, Gonzaga beat us, but they beat us because they put it in the post and they put us in pick and rolls. No team really has beaten us because they've gotten to the rim and shot layups. It's been mostly 3-point shots, been mostly like pounding the ball in the paint. So if we can continue to do that, which we can't, again, that is something you can control. You can control the tenacity. You can control how willing you are to apply defensive pressure, full court. And I think we're going to see that as we continue to move forward during the regular season, which gives me hope because those things you can control. And I think we saw that adjustment at Ole Miss. And I don't think that doesn't have to be an anomaly is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with all that. But I think in this game, it's going to be more important to be assignment sound. Okay. Because, there's some players on Auburn that we want to keep out of the paint at all costs. There's some players for Auburn that we want to run off the 3-point line. So we have to be intelligent. I mean, if we can be intelligent and intense, all this talk of intensity, of course you have to be intense. You know what I mean? If you want to be competitive. But, a team can have their intensity turned up to 100 and still get their brakes beat off.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who is playing a more intelligent, a more fundamentally sound and assignment sound game? So if we can bring the intensity and be solid on our assignments, we have the skill to beat them. And we have the skill to beat them by 10 or 15 if we play a good game.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Auburn hype right now, and I get it. But I think South Carolina peaked early. I don't think that's who they truly are. I think they got hot and played well through a good stretch of the SEC schedule. You know,
That could be the case. And I think that's a good point because you certainly can play with a lot of zeal, a lot of passion, but not have the fundamentals. You got to combine them, which I think this team is beginning to be more cerebral in their ability just to know where to play, know positions, know where
yeah.
help side is, know where how to have when you're playing the ball. I mean, how do you position yourself? Are you down in a defensive stance? You're on the balls to your feet? Are you arms length away? All those different things. I think you're starting to see them becoming more adept at that because they're getting older, and it comes with experience. It's trial and error. When you go and you have good game film, when you're able to show like, look, here's what you're doing. Because these guys, I think, Tony, we have an intelligent team. I think we have guys who are actually intelligent. And Cal has said this on multiple occasions that we have coachable players. You have guys who are very malleable, who are willing to, hey, look, here's what I want you to do it. So when you have guys like that who are willing to listen and who are intelligent, I think it's a matter of application, as you said. And if we can begin applying those things consistently, combined with that tenacity and that fervor, there's no reason why this team can't make a deep run in March. And so let's end with that, okay?
Well, look, let me say one
Yeah,
more thing.
yeah.
In the last 5 games, we have played much better defense. We've lost a couple of those games, but our defense has gotten better over the last 5 games. The only thing we have to really clean up now is overhelping. So our rotations and our scrambles, when we get into a rotation on defense, our scrambles are a lot better now. But now we just have to clean up the overhelp.
Okay.
That's where we're finding ourselves getting in trouble. If we can get that cleaned up, we can play solid defense.
Yeah.
Like Ole Miss is a good offensive team.
Yeah.
And we played good solid defense against them.
Yeah. That's a good point. And
So
just
Auburn is not the boogeyman.
no, I mean, like
Auburn is not the boogeyman.
we're
We
Kentucky
can beat
basketball.
them.
We don't go into any opponent. I don't care who you are, with any sort of like, oh, I just hope we win this game. Somehow we can pull this off. No, man. Like the bottom line is, we are still Kentucky basketball, regardless of how it's been the last few years. How we have the most talent out of any team in the country. That's not hyperbole. That is like if you look at mock NBA drafts, and I look at those on a daily basis sometimes. And I'm telling you, man, like I think ESPN, the top 73 players, we have 7 of those guys. 7 of those guys. No team can even say that they're even relatively close to that. We have
Listen,
7 of the top 73 guys in ESPN top 100 ranking.
all we got to do is go down there, knock down a couple early threes, take a little steam out of the crowd, and we can take off on them.
I agree. I think we both are in agreement on the fact that the beginning of the game is going to be important. It's going to be important, man, because we have not demonstrated that when we get down early, like by 15 or plus points, to be able to mount a comeback. We did that against Gonzaga, but I think we exerted a lot and we weren't rotating. Anyway, that's a different conversation. I'm just saying the beginning of the game is important. Really is.
Well, the 2 most important segments of any game are the first 5 minutes of each half.
That's a good point. Yeah. And I think that could be, Tony. I think what you said right there could be the key to the game as far as a stretch that's pivotal for us to play well in. I mean, I think you could say that in any game for the most part, but in high level games where like runs are so key because they're going to go on a run at some point. They're playing it at their home arena. They're going to have that mojo there with the fans. They will go on a run. It's a fact. They will. But on the flip side, we'll go on a run. And I think ultimately, whichever team can sustain a longer run is the team that's going to win. So I think if we have more sustained runs than them, I think we'll win the game. But again, that's just like we have to just mitigate and don't get crazy with like hemorrhage. If we're hemorrhaging the whole game with their runs, it's going to be tough for us to win. But I think you're right. I think the first 5 minutes of the first half, the first 5 minutes of the second half is going to be the telltale sign. Let's quickly delve in. This is our last part, then we'll close up. What are our projections right now? What are you feeling? Okay, we're 17-7, as we mentioned. We have a net mid-20s, 24, 25. Not super impressive, but again, you look at a lot of teams in the country can say the same thing. What is our ceiling right now with NCAA seeding? What's our ceiling? So we'll do three things. What's our ceiling?
Mhm.
What is the lowest end, basically? What's our floor, so to speak? And what's the most likely outcome, Tony, at this point?
Well, right now we're pretty much a consensus 6 seed right now.
Okay.
But here's the thing. I made a statement earlier on, or just a few minutes ago, and I think I'm going to have to retract that because I said a 2 seed would not be possible. But throughout our conversation, I've been thinking about it. If we reel off 4 wins in a row, if we were to win at Auburn and win 3 more games in a row,
Win at
we,
Tennessee?
that's what I'm saying. If
Yeah.
we win the next 4 games, if we could win the next 4 games, we would easily jump back into the top 5.
I'll be in contention for sure.
Easily.
Because those other teams are going to lose. Other teams have
And they would be losing to us.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's really the whole landscape is unsettled right now because, like you said, all of the good teams are pretty much grouped together between 5 and 8 losses.
Yeah.
So I mean, you rattle off 3, 4, 5 in a row, and we're right back in the conversation for a 2 or a 3.
Our ceiling is a 2 seed. We can get to a 2 seed.
I think so.
Okay.
We'd have to go on a real serious run though.
Okay.
But if we're talking about what the ceiling is,
Okay. What's the floor?
well, are we talking about absolute worst case
Yes.
scenario?
Worst case scenario.
Let's say worst case scenario. What we still play
We still play
Arkansas,
Vandy and Arkansas, which we'll win
Vandy, and Arkansas
at home.
at home. So if we were to just win those 2 games, I mean, we're looking at a 7 or 8 seed, I'd say.
Okay.
You know,
Which is not like, I don't want that, but at the same time, like we went to the Final Four in 2014 as an 8 seed. So, but we did go on a run in the SEC tournament and almost beat Florida to win the
yeah.
SEC championship. Okay. So, now what's the most likely scenario at this point right now? What is your projection? Where do you think we're going to get to?
I think we win Saturday.
Okay.
I'll
Your
go ahead and
prediction?
give you. I'm just going to go ahead and give you my prediction.
Okay.
I think we win by 9, and I think Killadilla goes for 30.
Ooh.
I see. No,
Did you make it? Did
I
you make
think
that
this is
Philadelphia?
Killadilla.
Did you trademark that yet?
I need to.
Dude,
So
you for sure need to trademark that name. Killadilla.
so I just feel like this is the perfect game for him to just show out. And good luck pressuring that guy one on one. Good luck. If they want to play that high pressure defense, I think that's the solution. Clear the floor, Killadilla at the top of the key. What are you going to do? Who's going to stop him from going
Man.
to the hole? You're going to have to double him. That's going to create somebody else is going to get open. And
Yeah.
if Cal can be smart schematically about positioning on the floor, you know, you're you're going to give up some open shots to Antonio Reeves and Reed Shepard. It's just going to happen. So I think that's how we beat them. But I just have a feeling that Rob is going to go off on Saturday
Okay.
because this is a showcase game.
Okay, so your prediction is 9 points. What's the final score going to be?
Say 84-75.
Man, guys, so Tony just gave you his prediction. That was some brazen predictions right there. I'm 2-2 in my last 4 predictions. All right. I wasn't sure I was going to make a prediction, but Tony's kind of inspired me a little bit right now. So I'm going to go on the record. I'm not going to title this show my prediction like I've done before. That's being super brazen. I've kind of learned my lesson a little bit with that. Going on the record, Tony said 9-point win, 84-75. I'm going to go, we win the game. I hate saying this, man. I don't like 1-point games. I don't like it. Goodness, I hate 1-point games. 79-78. I'm saying UK 79-78. And, man, I just have a feeling DJ Wagner is going to step up. And let me just say this about DJ really quickly, because I've been frustrated with DJ at times this year, quite frustrated. I think he was the catalyst last game that helped us go on the run in the second half. His defensive pressure, his intensity. He was playing so hard he had to be subbed out. I saw him. He was heaving. That dude right there brings a temperament. Now, he's the fourth best guard we have on the team. Fourth best behind Dillingham, Reed, and Reeves. He is. But what he brings to our team, I think, is invaluable. He brings a temperament. He brings an approach. He brings a tenacity. And that dude, I think probably when he is playing at his best, is our best on-ball defender. And I think he changed the temperament of the game against Ole Miss. And so I think I'm not going to say he's going to ball out and score 20 points, but I think even if DJ plays 15 minutes, I think his 15 to 20 minutes may be really key in helping us to sustain or at least ignite a run with us. And so we'll see. But I'm gaudy on DJ right now, and I'm really impressed with the way he played his role last game and played it really well. And I think if he continues to do that, if he stays in that sort of role, not trying to be a dude who's dropping 20 every game, that makes us, I think, tremendously better. So that's my prediction, but I wanted to give DJ a shout out because I thought he played really well. Tony, any last words?
Well, yeah, I need to give a disclaimer, to you and our two viewers right now about my prediction. So my record this year is 17-7 because I predict the Cats to win every single game.
Well, I would too. That's the thing. But I'm talking about I predict UK to win the national championship every single year. I mean, even with Billy Clyde Gillespie, we're in the NIT, I still predicted us to win the national championship. No, actually, I didn't. That was a year that shall not be spoken of in Kentucky basketball lore. But no, I'm with you. I mean, I'm talking about YouTube shows I've had, and we've done 4 games, and I'm, which again 2-2 because we've done 4 games. I predicted Kentucky to win each one of them.
ESPN gives us a 17% chance to win Saturday.
You know what? Those percentages, man, just kind of annoy me. Like, dude, they have a monkey in there.
What's the spread?
Typing something on the computer to get that percentage. I don't.
Have they
someone told me
opened the spread yet?
Point. I don't know if that sounds right.
How many?
1 point. Let me see real quick what the spread is.
1 point spread? Really?
Yeah, I don't know if that's true. Let me see.
Surely that's not true. I mean, that would give us some confidence going in that game, and Vegas has got a 1 point spread.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see what the spread is. Okay, well, we can find it. So, hold up. This is not right. Why can I not find this very easily?
Well, they might not have released it yet.
So maybe, I'm not sure. I'm not sure they've actually released the official spread. So maybe. Okay, hold up. All right, sorry. So Auburn is an 8.2 favorite.
Okay, that makes more sense.
And so I see a score prediction, which is funny. Okay, get this, Tony. So what did you say, 84-75?
Yep.
They predicted Auburn to beat us 83-75.
Okay.
So just flipping the script, baby.
Just flipping the script.
And here's the thing. At no point, and people who are tuning in, and I appreciate you guys tuning in because we're all like Big Blue Nation. Like, one of the things that we have is resiliency. And even, I don't think we're going to lose. I don't want us to lose. But here's the thing. Every single game we play, we should be thinking, you know what? We're going to win this game. Not because we have a hopeful, demeanor, but because we're Kentucky basketball. And at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is, if you look at the statistics, and you look at the facts of just our program, even in our down years, you look at the totality of our program compared to anyone else, we are the best college basketball program in the nation, top to bottom, historically. And to me, I don't even know, like, if you look at from Final Fours to NCAA tournament appearances to national championships, Final Fours, all that stuff, man, all the metrics. I mean, it's in
Well,
our favor.
and let's not forget that this year we also have better players. In the past few years, we haven't always been able to say that. But on paper, we're better than Auburn.
Yeah.
Can we translate it to the floor?
Yeah. I mean, that's
But
and
Mike, let me say this.
yeah, go ahead.
Let me say this. My whole thing about this game on Saturday is good luck putting all that pressure on our guards this year.
Mhm.
I mean, please come out and play as high pressure on our guards as you possibly can, because I promise you they're going to get loose. I promise you they're going to get loose. Because if you want to pressure Rob Dillingham that hard, he's not even going to need a screen. We're not even going to need to run a pick and roll. If you're right up on him, he's going to attack a shoulder and go.
Yeah. Yeah. Their style of play may be very detrimental to the outcome that they're wanting to get because we have dudes, we have great guards. We have 4 guards, as you mentioned, who are phenomenal with the ball, who are great penetrators. And I think decision making is going to be important. And I think that's going to be important for guys like DJ, Reed, and Rob. And Reed is constantly looking to kick out. And I think for DJ and Rob, it's going to be really imperative for them, which Rob is pretty good at. DJ is getting better, is to have the wherewithal to be able to have the ability to have your head on a swivel, have peripheral vision, and to be able to kick it when you get into the teeth of the defense. Because here's the thing: if you get too deep, you know this, Tony. That's why the mid-range jump shot is a lost art right now in basketball, and you're starting to see more of that in the NBA. Guys, getting to the 15-footer and getting to that place on the court. I think we're going to need to see that because penetration's great, but then if you penetrate too deep and you get yourself caught, it's important for us to gather ourselves on penetration. You don't got it to the rim, get to your mid-range game, shoot a mid-range jump shot. I want to see some of those mid-range jump shots from Rob and from DJ. Reed actually shoots a lot of those mid-range. Rob and DJ, I think, can get there, but also
Antonio Reeves has the greatest mid-range game in the country.
Antonio, yes, that's why I didn't mention him. Like Antonio's got that down pat. But let's close it out here, man. We've been on for about 37
let me say this real quick. That's a great point. That's a great point about over penetrating, because that has been an issue for us at times this year. And I think that is going to be absolutely key to this game on Saturday, because our guards are going to be able to get around their guys, and can we stay in that nice little zone in between once we drive by the defender before we get to the bigs down low, and can we take advantage of that mid-range game?
Well, yeah, that's true. It's funny, as we've talked and as we've kind of processed this, I do think the mid-range game may be really important because that is the sweet spot in basketball. Love getting to the mid-range, okay? Get to the elbow, 15-foot. That right there is where a lot of the action happens. And that's going to be primarily when you kick the basketball. You very rarely are going to kick it when you get to the teeth of the defense. The only exception, I would say, is if you drive baseline. A lot of those baseline drives are conducive because you have more of a peripheral. If you're driving to the basket, your back is to everyone else. Baseline, you're able to have that peripheral to see what's in front of you. But hey, close out here. You have more thought, right? Close it out. And I'm gonna ask you a question to actually officially close it out.
Well, I'll just keep piggybacking off what we're talking about right now. So I think it's going to be more crucial against Auburn than any team we played yet this year or that we will play, because they have extremely athletic bigs. So like they're going to invite us to bring it to the rim. They've been watching tape on us too, and they've seen us over penetrating and our guards, kind of taking these weak layups and just getting it rejected every time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if we can have that short mid-range game going, we can take advantage of them, absolutely, because they're going to be waiting at the rim for us.
Yeah, sure. Hey, look, as we've talked and as we began picking apart this team, and Auburn's got, I want to say this, they have 4 guys who shoot 38% or more on 3-point. So that's it's going to be really important for us to
We're the
continue.
best 3-point shooting team in the country.
I know that. I know that, Tom. But we have to be cognizant and run them off the 3-point line. And Johnny Broom can shoot threes, man.
Yeah.
Last question, then we're going to be done. Will Bruce Pearl perspirate more underneath his arms than Buzz Williams from Texas A&M during this game?
Yes.
He's a very sweaty man.
It's going to be an intense game. He's going to sweat a lot.
But he sweats in general. Like
I think Cal might match him in sweatiness at the end of this game. It's going to be a very sweaty affair for the coaches.
Yes, a lot of perspiration, a lot of salt.
Cal better not take his jacket off.
A lot of saltiness.
It's going to be nasty.
It will be. Yeah, Cal, keep your jacket on, bro. Get the hair gel out. Get your Pat Riley stuff going on.
Keep that towel right on the table right there where you're walking. You're going to need it.
I don't think anyone sweats more than Buzz Williams. I think Buzz Williams has kind of a weird fascination about just like I honestly think maybe he pours water under his arms before the game starts. Like no one sweats that much under their arms. It's like it comes down all the way to his obliques.
It may be a disorder. There's a disorder that makes you sweat a lot.
Sweataceous disorder?
I don't know what it's called, bro.
I think it's sweataceous.
There's a name. I mean, there's a name for it. I've heard it before,
but Buzz Williams sweats profusely, and Bruce Pearl is all over the place with his, profusely. All right, so we're wrapping it up. This edition of Kentucky Basketball Access. We're finally able to go live on this channel, so that means more of Tony James, my co-host. And if you guys are just tuning in, check back. We've been rolling for like 42 minutes almost talking about Kentucky basketball, the game on Saturday against Auburn. We talked about NCAA things, some predictions about the end of the year. A lot of good content. Tony is, as I've said before, I talked to a lot of people about Kentucky basketball, and Tony is in a class of his own as far as his knowledge, his understanding, and so love having Tony on. He's a great asset.
Hey, we got to give a big shout out to the two people that have been hanging with us the whole time.
Well, no, Tony, so
is that us?
Go to YouTube, so people come on and off on this.
Okay. Well, I can't see. I've just seen where it says 2 the whole time.
Yeah. Well, there's been 2, 3, so that means like there are 2 people right now currently on.
So that's not counting us in that.
No, it's not.
Okay.
No. So when there's for example, you may.
Well, for the 2 that are on here right now, big shout out to you guys. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thank you all. And spread the word. We want this. This is fun for us. It's fun for you guys. One of the things I love doing is just getting in the car and listening to people talk about Kentucky basketball. It's a lot of fun for me. So appreciate you guys tuning in. And we'll be back on. We'll most likely get back on here on Saturday to talk about the game. Hopefully, man, we pull out a big dub.
I think we're going to get it, bro.
Let's get it, man. Let's do it. All right, guys. Appreciate you all tuning in, and we'll catch you next time. Tone.
All right, later, guys.
Later, guys. See ya.